All I know is what they tell us on the TV.
Roger. So if it rains, the roads are like shell or exposed earth. Is that a Roger?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's just, are those roads closed down? I mean, are they still trying to use them in traffic, or are they just totally shut down?
Some of them are totally closed. Others, there's only one lane for usage, and that and a turn lane. I'm sorry. The center turn lane and the outside lane is being used. So that's the way it is all over the city. Plus, like I said, some of the roads are completely shut down.
Roger. Well, what are the residents in that area? What are they doing for having to motivate? Can they drive on those roads?
I don't know. I really don't know. It would seem like they'd have to get to their workplaces and get to the places that they have to be. So I don't know how they can completely shut down certain roads. Unless it's in the sections where there's no homes to deal with, there is that possibility.
Roger, boy, it just sounds like a bad situation for sure. When's the next election?
I really don't know.
I mean, I wonder if that would be the answer to bring in a new city mayor and stuff like that to try to get the situation resolved. Certainly can't go on like that, I wouldn't think, for too long.
Well, you can elect anybody you want, but that don't put any money into the general fund, does it?
Well, that's true, but maybe somebody else has got a better idea than where they are now.
A bad situation was dumped right into our mayor's lap. And she's trying her best to deal with it.
Yeah, that's a shame. Yeah, maybe hopefully somebody can turn some money up somewhere to be able to at least finish those projects and get those streets back to being able to be able to drive on them at least.
Roger that. And it's just not the water situation. Damn it, making it inconvenient for everybody. This has long-lasting effects on the city. We've got people moving out left and right, and you can't even give away property here in Flint. I know certain people trying to sell their homes, and they can't even hardly give them away.
Roger, yeah, I imagine in those areas where those streets are all torn up, trying to put water pipes in there. Talk about street appeal. We've got a couple of those projects going on around here, and it looks like a war zone in there. And the longer those roads stay torn up, the worse it's going to be. Pretty soon, that stuff's just like a canal instead of a road.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it's looking pretty bad for the city of Flint. It was bad enough when GM pulled up stakes and moved out, and taking all the support businesses with them and all of that. They put thousands upon thousands of people out of work. That was really a devastating blow to the city of Flint. And now this water situation is basically turned Flint into a ghost town. KC9VKV.
KC9VKV. Flint was associated with Detroit in the automobile business. I mean, they were just tied neck and neck, so to speak.
Yeah, we were number 2 in automobile production, you know, for years upon years. And that's why they called it Buick City. All of the Buicks were produced here. Plus Oldsmobiles and Pontiacs, and we still have the truck plant that's still pumping out trucks. But as far as automobile production goes, no more. It's all gone.
So you know, we've seen the pictures of Detroit. Does Flint resemble Detroit as far as the flight of people out of those cities?
Yes, sir. It's bad.
A lot of vacant business establishments.
Oh yeah, and a lot of those buildings have been burned out. They're everywhere. Everywhere you go in the city.
Yeah, that's a shame. That is a shame. Well, hopefully, you know, somebody will come along that's got some better ideas as far as to at least to be able to complete that those new water pipe projects and that have all the streets torn up, because you can't live like that.
No, this is true.
Maybe send the mayor back to Washington and say, you know, it is. I mean, it will be a severe problem if that's not those streets aren't you know, put back together.
Yeah, she has made a couple of trips to Washington, and so far there still isn't any money in the coffers.
Well, it's probably because the senators and those guys have got it soaked away for their retirement fund. They do that. They you know, what I was hearing, that all them guys didn't want to go with Obama's health care. They had their own, you know, so they really didn't care about everybody else being involved with, you know, health care that may or may not be the best, but they had their own, so they didn't care about anything else.
And there was something I was going to say, now I can't remember what it was. Damn it. You know, something about the money. Crap. Oh, yeah. If it wasn't for what Governor Snyder did by going to Washington, and when he did not declare Flint as an emergency, we would have gotten that. We would have got millions upon millions of dollars. But he said that Flint was not an emergency, so we didn't get that emergency money. And if we would have got that emergency money, a lot of this infrastructure would have been changed out by now. I gotta take a break. I'm about to lose my voice. It's getting harder and harder to talk. So I'm gonna take a short standby here. KC9VKV.
Roger, Roger. Well, you know, maybe some other political faction might also be able to take a trip to Washington and say that the mayor hasn't a clue as to the severity of the situation, and that it is an emergency situation where you have roads torn up, and all these streets torn up like that are going to become canals and mud as the weather changes there, without you know, being, if those roads aren't set back right. So maybe another group going to Washington to plead the case more accurately might be in the future, hopefully, and that might resolve the problem for those people in Flint.
That's not going to happen. They're not going to do anything about it. Both Hillary and Obama, the sitting president, have both been here recently. And nothing's going to change. K C9VKV.
Did they have comments on the situation?
Oh, they heard all kinds of stuff. I mean, Mayor Weaver's met with both of them.
Is Mayor Weaver the one that went to Washington that said it wasn't an emergency situation in Flint?
No, as Jack said, that was the governor of the state, not the mayor.
Roger, Roger. So, maybe the mayor might have more insight than the governor, since the mayor lives in the city. Maybe he should go to there and say, hey, Washington, the governor's not correct.
I just said she did. She's been there. They've been here. Still nothing.
Sad. You wonder how, how it can just to go on like that. I mean, obviously there's got to be a solution to the problem. You can't tear a city up like that and just walk away.
I don't know. That's happening. I look at a lot of other cities around the country that have been through various types of the same kind of crap we're going through. I don't think they've gotten much better.
Maybe some government body might be able to step in and declare an emergency situation. Maybe the EPA, even CDC could say it's out of control and has to be fixed, or
Well, I got to give you a AAA plus for optimism, but let me tell you a little story. I live here. I've lived here all my life. I've been on top of every little news tidbit on social media, the TV, and the radio since this thing, before it even blew up like it is. And, it's already been decided that it was a combination of failures that the city made, along with the governor, who appointed an emergency manager. Yes, we have an emergency manager law in this state. And the EPA blew it off, and the DEQ blew it off. So, collectively, from the local officials of the city of Flint all the way to the federal agencies that are supposed to protect us from this very thing have failed. And the mayor declared it an emergency after the governor refused to. And still very little has been done. There already has been some millions come into the city, but with contractors charging, I figured it out. They did like 30 of them on, I forget how many millions of dollars it was, but anyhow, just 30 in way more time than they said it would take. It changed 30 lead service lines just to 30 homes. The amount of money that was spent on the contractors to do that, it cost over $33,000 per line. Now you tell me, how in the hell can that be worth $33,000? Somebody's getting rich off of this crap somewhere, and it isn't us. So some money already has flowed in, and everything's dying down now, and water donations are down. The bottled water, they're still giving that away, but at fewer places now, and it's a failure all the way to the federal level, yet somehow nothing is still getting done about it. So, you can say maybe somebody should do this and maybe somebody should do that. This has been going on for almost 2 years now, They already have.
Maybe it's time for a new representation, since the current representatives are not being too successful in their talkings to Washington. Maybe new blood might be needed.
Well, that I don't know. I personally think that across the entire United States we need to clean house. I don't think either party is worth a crap. I mean, it flip-flops back and forth from one to the other now, seemingly every 8 years now instead of 4, and in the middle of that 2 terms, the Congress does the same thing. Still, same old crap, status quo BS, nothing happens. K9
KC9VKV. Well, some have said that there's not a dime worth of difference between the one party and the other. They just are presenting a difference to confuse the, quote, enemy, thinking that there is a difference and there is hope, but it's all they both are part of the same coin, so to speak, and part of the same program to maybe for them to come out a lot better and for us to not come out at all.
Oh yeah, I've thought that for years. All of this garbage that goes on, both the Democrats and the Republicans are in on it. Nothing will ever change my mind about that. They're both in. There is collusion to basically destroy what once was a great country. And yeah, I don't know. This two-party system that appears to be quickly turning into one, it's got to go.
Roger. Well, somebody had said that they had seen a big truckload, or actually a trainload full of signs that were martial law signages. Like a trainload full going from someplace to someplace, but I mean that's I didn't see it. I don't know for sure, but that's what I heard.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of that. I've seen a lot of videos of trains carrying armored personnel carriers and stuff like that, but at the same time we build a lot of them for a lot of other countries, including the United Nations. And so it's, nobody's shown me any proof as to where they're ending up here in the United States and being put into place. It's just that they're being built and loaded onto trains and transported to mainly seaports.
Well, hopefully that's they're bound for some other destination, or for us to conquer other countries and try to, I wonder, it seems to me that it's foolish to try to occupy another country. It's just absolutely foolish. It's untenable. I mean, it seems like the military should be used to, say, remove. I mean, if you got a beef with a certain country and you have the power, you go in and change their leadership, but you don't, occupy the country. Change the leadership, see what the people do after that. If they still pose a problem, you change the leadership again, but you don't try to occupy the country. That's crazy.
Well, that's not the way we work anymore. I mean, the last few decades are proof that, we do just that, but then we stick around and, yeah, I don't know. Anyhow, there's all kinds of other issues around the country just on water. Flint isn't the only place that's going through it. We just have gotten the most notoriety for it in recent history, but there's been a lot of issues with bad water going on all over. I mean, even Washington, D.C. had this issue like 10 years ago. Lansing, our state capital, has the same problem, except they actually started fixing it little by little more than 10 years ago. So you don't hear about it down there. But here, it's just, a total heap of of somebody's pocketing a lot of money, and very few people actually work for the city that do their jobs properly anymore. And are, we don't even have our section of the new water pipeline hooked up yet, because the city doesn't have the money to pay for it. And the government gave us part of that money recently, but then the city still got to come up with the other half of it almost to finish the job to tie into the new water line. And then they've got to get a skilled level of personnel at the Flint water plant and install new treatment equipment and run that for 6 months so these people actually learn how to do that properly before we'll even be on the new pipeline. So even though the new pipeline's in, and county residents will probably be seeing the water from it before the end of the year, we're not going to see any of it here in the city of Flint until probably late next year at the earliest. And, well, a damn key. N8Umw.
KC9VKV. Well, will anybody still be? You are getting good water in there, right? You're getting emergency water.
Oh yeah, you can go get bottled water, but even in the thick of all this crap, they're still charging us almost $50 a month in just service fees before you pay for 1 penny of water. So I mean, we've got one of the highest water rates in the entire country for water that in some neighborhoods is still kind of on the rough side, if you know what I mean. And they've just barely even gotten started on changing out a bunch of lead service lines. So, yeah, they got a long way to go.
Well, at one time in this nation's history, it was the broadcast industry that would lead the charge for social improvement, would report on conditions that affect vast numbers of people, to the point that it embarrassed certain people to and force them to function to solve the problem rather than be a part of the problem. And it does not seem like that is happening today as far as the broadcast industry. It looks like they tend to just sidestep all those issues because they probably it's not good for their news programs to be so down, so they just avoid those topics instead of digging into them and investigative reporting to bringing those problems to light to the rest of the country.
Oh, I don't know. I know for a fact our plight's all over social media, but so many people now are busy trying to keep up with the Kardashians and play Pokemon Go that they just don't give a damn. That's the problem with the country anymore. Nobody gives a damn until it affects them, and that's exactly what it's going to come down to with the politics of this country as a whole. Something is going to happen. I don't know if martial law will ever be implemented nationwide, but you can bet your bottom dollar at some point in the major cities it probably will be in the near future, with all this BLM garbage and everything else that keeps going on, that the media is all over that. They want to shove all of that in everybody's face nonstop and do their very best to keep us divided and at each other's throats. So, I don't know. Our politicians anymore have absolutely no shame, and that's the problem with it. No shame. Look at Hillary. If you take one tiny fraction of the crap that she's done, 20 years ago that would have killed anyone else's chances of even having a shot at getting the nomination, let alone become president. Nowadays, nobody cares. You can do whatever you want and blow it off as lies and BS and just keep right on going. And, it's no morals, no integrity, nothing.
Roger. Well, and it also depends on how the media plays it. The media has deliberately not harped on that, brought that out very heavily about her situation with the, her emails and all that stuff, and the FBI just sidestepped the whole situation. And the problem is that if you don't give the common man his due as far as a good shake or whatever, a half decent shake in the situation, it gets down to a situation where we don't want to be as far as people seeking their own answers.
Well, I'm going to say I'm going to go out on a limb here and say just exactly what I think, which is that a significant and large portion of the population just doesn't care anymore. They've grown up to believe that having any kind of morals or respect for authority, let alone respect for other people, including their friends or their parents, broken families, yada, yada, yada. All that stuff is, after a few generations, that stuff is finally coming back to haunt us. And everybody's got this me attitude, and they just don't care until something directly affects them. And then, oh, well, now it's a problem all of a sudden. But that's just my take on it. And I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. I don't know. I don't expect it to be turned around in my lifetime.
Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. Well, people have to look at situations as me next. If it can happen there, it can happen here. And what happens there, as I said, could happen here. So if they have the means of solving the problem there before it gets here, they're better off. If they don't, then what I forget what there's a saying about that. If you don't, when they come to get the one guy, if you don't say something, then pretty soon they come to get you, and nobody says anything about that.
Well, I believe some of that is going on right now.